experts decide your podcast is shit. Good day, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 33 of the Randers podcast with me.
33 and not faded yet.
If you're still here, what the hell is wrong with you?
How many of them have you watched? Are you clinically insane yet?
Think how many hours of your life it would take to watch through all the podcasts and drivel.
I want to know how many people have been killed because of this podcast.
Hopefully none.
How many people want to kill us because of this podcast?
Quite a few.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There's probably a list on our. I should put a list on our website of people who might have a grudge against us.
Are we going to have that? That's going to be on like a Wikipedia page or something. Like
that's when you know you've made it.
Nerds.
When you have a Wikipedia page about you, that's when you know you've made it. No, actually, you know you've become far popular. When you really made it is when you have a TV tropes page about you.
God damn, we're never going to get one of them.
Yeah,
listeners, we might already have one.
Listeners/viewers. Make a Wikipedia page up about us. That way we can't be accused
I thought
of
that when you really
self-puppetry.
made it is when you had an Encyclopedia Dramatica page about you, but then that
Trollage.
might be making it the wrong way.
They're all such assholes and they're all gay. It's like, wow.
Right,
Good
excellent.
Good job, guys.
Well, whatever. Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Dramatica, TV tropes, whatever you like to make, just do it. Just make
All of
it.
the above.
Try and make us sort of...
Be really nice on Encyclopedia Dramatica. Be really nasty on Wikipedia, and then lie through the skin of your teeth for TV tropes.
TV tropes.
Just saying.
See
if people can realise that they're muddled up, or see if we can actually tell if you're being serial and if you haven't fucked them up on purpose.
Tropes. I wonder how many tropes I can think of off the top of my head that we can list to ours.
Oh, is this
Presenters are morons, yeah.
Is this how we're going to pad the show notes of 3?
4.
Oh, 4! Oh, well, I disconnected.
I think the entire podcast could come under the definition of fridge horror quite easily.
Not Nightmare Fuel, really.
it will become Nightmare Fuel eventually.
TV tropes. I love TV tropes. Anyway, so, moving on. Starting at games we've been playing.
None.
And we'll start with me, because I'm the only one that's been playing anything, it seems.
Man, what are you talking about?
And the game I've been playing is fucking awesome. Like, seriously, this game is
Barbie's Horse Adventure.
The second coming of
Awesomeness.
Cosby.
Yeah. Careful.
I only said the second. I'm imagining he hadn't reached critical mass at this point.
Talking of terrible games and talking about
the Cosby's. What? There's a Cosby video game?
I don't think it's got an Oculus Rift support.
Oh.
Remember when we were talking about good stealth games? That is the king of stealth games.
But who are you playing as? Or dare we not ask?
Oh god, that becomes a totally different game, doesn't it? If we start asking that.
Yeah, I remember once at college, looking on Games website.
Back in my day.
You know how Game have this habit of advertising shit games. You know, they'll pick a random game, advertise it, and try and push the fore and think no one's going to buy that.
Right, yeah.
Example.
You mean like what they did with Farming Simulator
yes.
that time?
Did I tell you about that Farming Simulator story? Have I told you that one, Adam?
They put that on didn't they put that on the storefront?
Yes.
Like Farming Simulator
2013. They had a big post of it in the storefront in the centre of Norwich, advertising.
Like, seriously, all over the windows. Like nothing else. No Call of Duty. No.
That's
Creed,
random. I mean, it's normally FIFA, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
but it was Farming Simulator.
It's like, okay, fair enough.
I think I should go in there and buy me combo harvester boy.
Yeah, I was on there once, and I was looking through the list of all sort of new great deals this week. You know, the best games to buy this week, and I had
Disney's Peter Pan.
No, almost as bad. I had all your usual sort of shooters at the time. I can't remember what was out at the time. I think it might be the very first. Call of Duty when they were World War II Call of Duties. Well, I mean, we're going back to 2003
Don't
time.
be daft. No COD gamer remembers that.
They all think Modern Warfare is the first Call of Duty.
Yeah, most of them are little twitchy 13.
They don't really understand there's a reason there's a title after the colons. Anyway, I remember looking down a list, and it had this game, a very dodgy title. And it was Pippa Fennell's The Stud Farm Inheritance. I thought, that sounds dodgy. And you know what it's about? Horse breeding. Random game. But I remember showing them because saying, what do you think this game is about? And showing them. They also looked looked very concerned about the whole title. Anyway, that's just random.
Interesting thing to find on a UK store shelf, really.
It wasn't on the store. It was on the website. It was on the website.
Only on the website.
They're pushing it on the website. I can't.
You hope it wasn't on a store shelf.
It may have been on a store shelf in like Newmarket. where the horsey people live.
Available for 3
otherwise known as centaurs.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
So you're playing the second
Anyway.
coming of
The second coming of whatever. This game is awesome. I'm not sure if we've discussed Hotline Miami on the podcast before.
I think
We have, yes.
Yeah,
The first one.
Okay, well, to reiterate, Hotline Miami is pretty much a murder simulator. Well, it's
my kind of game, really.
It's like an arcadey game. It was inspired by the film Drive.
Jack Thompson will be really happy.
Oh god, yeah, he'd love it. I'm sure.
Put him in the game.
I'm sure he'd enjoy being in that game.
He's one of the first victims.
He'd be a great character. I reckon he'd actually go apeshit and be one of the killers. You'd be like playing as him, running around a game store, strangling soccer moms. You know, like I can see it happening. But yeah, the first game was basically inspired by Drive. It's a top-down, arcadey sort of beat 'em up style game. But like, it's interesting because you run through the idea of the first one is to be as reckless as possible, run through a building and kill absolutely everybody inside the building. And it's usually like mobsters and stuff. You were going up against a Russian mob in the first game, but you didn't really know anything about it because it was a very trippy game and you were playing as this random guy who was receiving phone calls. And the phone calls were just like to do mundane jobs, like I don't know, like, oh, we've got a garden in so and so street that needs sorting out. Put your best suit on and get down there and sort it out. And then you'd roll up at some club, shoot a load of Russian gangsters, and Bob's your uncle. And you could kill them all in interesting ways. You could like plan your route of attack. Like you could use doors to knock them down and take them out when they're on the floor. Fire off guns to get guys to come into a room and then take them out when they come in. It was an interesting little game because yeah, you could play it as you liked. You could, if you mixed it up with a bit of planning, but also a little bit of recklessness, you kind of got rewarded for it. It didn't have much of a story, but what was there was good because it was really vague. So it got sort of drip-fed to you, and it was very trippy, very psychedelic. And
it was a very colourful game, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It's very neon 80s looking, which is the style they were going for, because it's all set in the 80s. And it's one of those games I like, because I like this about Dark Souls as well, is that the story drummed up conversation, and the story was kind of, rather than just being given to you on a plate, it kind of became discovered as you talked about it on forums and stuff with people, and people started figuring out bits and pieces for themselves, and ideas were being put forward, and I really liked that. Well, the second one takes that up a notch. The game is a damn sight harder than the first one. It's a hell of a lot longer. And whereas the first game only had 2 characters that you could play as, well, one for the bulk of the game, and then like 4 extra levels where you could play as another one, this game has a whopping 13 characters to play as, which is really quite good, and they all play very, very differently. So, whereas your first one, you had the masks, which would change up your gameplay style, this one, the gameplay styles are radically different for the characters. Oh, we've gone missing, it looks.
Bollocks to it.
Oh, well.
Just carry on.
Yes. Yeah, so you
Luke
sort
deals
of...
with the complaints.
You follow the story this time in bits, because you obviously, rather than just going straight through as one character, you're following different characters' stories, and it jumps between time scales. For example, one of the characters for the first game that you talk to turns out to be a veteran from a war that never happened, because it's like set in an alternate timeline. So, not to the game, but to reality. So, like, there's a war that happens in Hawaii. The Cold War basically gets extended, and the Americans and the Russians go to war in Hawaii for some reason, and they're
why not?
Pineapples.
Yep, and they're fighting over Hawaii, and a war happens, and in retaliation, the Russians drop a nuke on San Francisco, and this is actually hinted at in the first game that this happens, but you don't really sort of understand so much of it back then, which is what I like about this one. Although the story is still really trippy, and you still really need to piece things together, it does kind of unravel a lot of the stuff that was going on in the first game, and I liked that because it was always hinted at that the first game never really had much of a story. Well,
so
actually,
you need to play the first one to get the
you
second
don't
one,
have
or you need
to
to play the second one to get the first one?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
You don't really have to play the first one, I would say, but you will enjoy the second one a hell of a lot more if you have played the first one. There's lots of fan service and stuff in there that I really liked.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the characters play really quite interestingly. I mean, you've now got a couple of guys called, or a dude and his sister, Alex and Ash, that wear swan masks. One of them carries a chainsaw, and it's not Ash, which disappointed me. I thought that was going to be the reference, but no, it's Alex that's got the chainsaw. And Ash can pick up guns, so when you're running through the levels, you're controlling both of them at the same time, which is fairly interesting. So you can run through a room, chainsaw some dudes, and then you can be shooting from behind at the same time. So you can take out a whole room of people really quickly, which is quite good fun. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but they're easily the most overpowered duo in the game. Yeah, like I say, you find out a little bit more about this war and what happened and why the nukes in San Fran got bombed. I can't really go too much into the story because it'll spoiler way too much, because it all ties up rather interestingly. But it is some of the most fun I've had with a game in a long time, and I was really hyped for this game as well, and I'm quite happy to report that it meets and exceeds expectations. It is that damn good. Did you get round to playing any of the first one, Luke?
No, I did ask Divine about this. I said to him, I'm sure that it was available as a PlayStation Plus freebie at one point.
Yeah, I
was sure I had it.
Yeah.
But I've looked down the list and it doesn't look like I've got it.
Oh, that's a
Because if I
shame.
did, it should have been cross-play for the Vita, and it's not on my Vita list. So, if not, then I might have to pick it up on the Vita.
Yeah, well, if it goes on
play it on
sale
there.
or something. Yeah, definitely worth a pickup.
I mean, how much is it on PC, the first one?
£6, I
That's
think.
the same as on the Vita, then.
Yeah, and on the second one is only 10 something. So
yeah,
it's not...
I'll probably pick them up on the
Yeah.
Vita.
So they're not gonna
they're
break the
cross-play
bank.
with the PlayStation 4 as well, or cross-buy, so...
Yeah. The thing with this one that a lot of people are complaining about, actually, it seems I quite like this. It's split the community that played the first one, and I actually went back and played the first one afterwards. And my God, that game I used to find quite hard, and now it is a breeze. It's a walkover, because the second one
It's much harder.
so difficult that you really learn the
It's
intricacies of
anti-casual.
the game. It's very, very anti-casual.
So what are the main complaints that people have with it?
One of the main complaints now is that the first game was very much focused on small areas. You had tight levels. You could run through and you could take everybody out of a melee weapon if you wanted to. This one, you really have to learn to use guns, and because you have like a button, your shift key or I think it's your L button on a controller will extend your view so you can see further ahead. And you need to use. You didn't really need to use it much in the first one, but in this one you need it, because you'll have enemies that will be out of your regular line of sight, and if they clock you, you're shot straight away, one hit kill, so you're down, because it's a tough game. It's one of those kind of, I wouldn't want to say roguelikes, because it's not really like that, but it is a game where you will die in one hit if you get...
if you fuck up, it was your fault.
Yeah.
If you die, it was your fault.
Totally your fault. So yeah, you have to kind of be looking ahead, and the bits where you're in Hawaii and you're playing as a soldier, those levels are tough, and a lot of people hate them for that reason, but I aesthetically didn't like those levels. I preferred the more ones set in a city when you're fighting mobsters and you have all this 80s sort of neon stuff going on. But yeah, that was a bit of a complaint for some people. I saw it more as an excuse to get better at the game, and it made me enjoy the game a lot more. Like I enjoyed the first one, and I found the first one hard when I played it, but there were a couple of moments in this that I found really frustrating, but once I mastered them, I felt accomplishment, which not many games manage to do anymore. There aren't many games where I'll play them and have a bit of trial and error and then feel really accomplished when I manage to do something. But this one definitely did, especially when you consider that levels can be taken, some levels anyway, can be taken differently depending on which of the characters that are given you that you decide to play. And some of the characters have about 3 or 4 different styles. There's one interesting one that I really like. There's a dude who's a writer, and because a lot of the game now is either you play events that cause what happened in the first game, so the war and stuff would have been what caused what happened, and then you get to play events that were inspired by the murders in the first game. So like you've got one of the most popular characters, or it's not one, it's a group of characters called the Fans, and they're a bunch of copycat killers that are basically wanting to be like the dude in the first game. So they're going around and they're killing mobsters and gangsters and all sorts of different gangs and things, so that they can be like their hero and be vigilantes. And interestingly, the end boss of the last game was a mob boss. You get to play as his son, so you get to see the other side of the coin and get to play as a Russian mob, which is quite cool. And I really funnily enough, I really ended up liking him. I found him to be an oddly endearing character compared to some of the psychopaths that you get to play as in this game. But one of the most likeable characters is a dude called Evan, and he's writing a book on the murders. And it's interesting because you get much more story emphasis in this game than you did in the last one. And most of the story around him is how the writing of this book is basically tearing his family life apart. Like his wife and his kids are getting fed up with the fact that he's concentrating on this book so much. And it gets to the point where his wife actually leaves. And you get to kind of decide a little bit how his fate turns out, because you can either have him go back to his family or you can have him concentrate more on this book and get more involved in this dark world. But he's a pacifist, so when you're getting into levels, it's like you're playing as Batman. You run in and you knock dudes down, and then you when you do your executions, which would be normally when you brutally murder somebody, he'll just knock them out, do a like quick knock punch, knock them out. And when he picks up weapons, rather than being able to use them, he takes the ammunition out, so you get points for it as well. So it's interesting building up combos with him, because your score goes through the roof if you're just running through the level, knocking dudes down, unloading their weapons, and then quickly knocking another dude down. So I found that actually to be a lot more... It
seems to be an interesting mechanic.
It really is. I mean, especially considering a lot of people found him more fun to play as than the dudes that just run in and start hacking everybody up, because like you're obviously having to be a bit more restrained.
It's a nice kind of a flip.
You don't have to think about it.
But the interesting thing about him is, and it's not really hinted at in his character in the game, but I found that what you can do is when you do your executions, he has to manually escape from them. So when you get someone down, you'd normally press A, you get like, say, one of the other characters to stomp on a dude's head or shoot him or something. You can hit them twice, but then you have to press B to cancel out of it. But if you keep tapping A really fast while he's doing it, he goes a little bit berserk and starts beating the hell out of them and will kill them, and then the screen goes a little bit red. And if you do it again, he throws his jacket off and you can suddenly pick up weapons with him, and he's like an insane killer. And it's like, okay.
Bad, he goes postal.
So yeah, the pacifist guy goes postal, which I thought was quite cool. You do get an achievement if you manage to play him all the way through as a pacifist, which I did, which was quite fun.
Is that sort of mechanic a bit hidden from you as well? So it's a case of you have to discover it by accident, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, I found it fairly easily because I didn't know that you could cancel out, and in that game, you do just tend to hit the button when you got people down, and then I was like, oh shit, he's accidentally killed them. That's interesting. And then I did it a couple more times, and he went apeshit and went all Hulk mode, so that was quite cool. I like it. I like the fact that there's good variety in the characters. The story is really surprising because it's quite deep. Like, there's it's sort of drip fed to you in bits, and you have to suss a lot of what's going on yourself. But there's characters that are really quite endearing that you wouldn't expect them to be. Like, there's a murderer in the first game who's part of this group that you were working for in the first game that was sending out the calls, and he kills your partner, because the guy in the first game ends up rescuing a hooker from this situation, and he ends up she ends up living with him, and this dude comes in and kills her, and he's like you. He's basically getting these calls and being told to kill people and take people out. So in the first game, you've more got like a vendetta against him, because you think, well, he's killed this guy's girlfriend, I'm going to take him out. But you had an option to spare him. You could either just knock him out or you could kill him. And it turns out that the guy in the first game actually decided to spare him, because obviously you're playing as him in this one. And then you play through his story, and I won't spoil it for anybody that wants to play it, but you find out that this guy is actually like a really nice guy, and he's basically having a really tough time, and he's trying to get out of doing all the killing and stuff. And yeah, you just see a totally different side of the character that you expected just to be this stone cold killer when you see him in the first game. So it's really good because you get to see all these different sides of characters that you came across in the original. And I'm really surprised at the depth of the story, considering that the first game was quite not a very story-heavy game. So to see so much exposition in this one was,
sounds pretty neat.
Quite a pleasant surprise. It really is. It's really well written as well. Like a lot of it doesn't. It comes off as I don't know. Like it's. You wouldn't expect bits of it to be as sentimental as they are, or to be sort of as endearing as they are. You'd think
got
it
a surprise emotional.
It has. Like, you'd expect the whole game just to be about violence and death and all these crazy dudes going around and killing people based off these phone calls and stuff. But there's lots of politics and stuff going on, and then like you kind of see the different facets as to why people do what they do. Like the dude who's in the mob. He's only in the mob because he's the son of the mob boss. So he was raised in the mob, so he's not necessarily a bad guy, you know. He just happens to have been brought up around criminal goings-on his entire life. And you kind of start to see different aspects of characters.
Really.
Yeah, pretty much. I love it. It's a really good game. It's one of those games I can go back and replay as well. I love going back and trying the missions out and seeing if I can S-rank them and I've been on sort of forums and stuff I've been following, it gets talked about a lot, and people are always trying to up each other's high scores, because you've got like a high score thing on it, worldwide high score thing. So people are always like beating the different levels with different scores and one up on one another. And there's a level editor coming out for it. So
that's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool. I'm not sure what other stuff there will be. It's hinted at that there might be some Payday 2 stuff in there, because I didn't realise, but Overkill apparently helped to do something with the game, hence why you have the stuff in Payday 2 that's all Hotline Miami oriented. So there's some stuff. Somebody found Hoxton's mask in the files in the game, like a sort of a 8-bit looking version of his mask, like the graphics of the game. So I was like, that's interesting. We might have some crossover stuff happening in the future. But yeah, no, I really, really can't recommend this game enough. If you enjoy any sort of arcade games, or even if you wanted a game that might just give you a little bit of a different look at, say, the world of violence, as it were.
Psycho killing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the original game was made. The tagline for the game was, "Do you like hurting other people?" And as the second game, as you know, had lots of like it's banned in Australia. It had lots of problems. Yeah,
Australia.
there's lots of
except Pippin and Fennell's the stud farm inheritance.
Yeah. There's lots of problems arising around the game. People saying, "Oh, this game's terrible because you can murder," and because there's a hinted at rape scene, which isn't actually a rape scene. It's just part of a movie, like a horror movie that's in the game. And the first game went through this as well. People saying, "Oh, it's just needless violence and that." But the whole idea of the first game, which was explained to you in the ending, which I don't want to spoil it, so I won't go into it. But the idea of the first game was to say to you, this is just a game. You're a dude going around and kill all these people, but you're not actually doing it. You're just playing a game, man. You're not. And yeah, people need to sort of stop associating fantasy with reality. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that I can come home and I can play and I can burn a few hours. And if I'm not feeling too good, it's a good game to play. So I could just sit, murder a room full of pixels, and then I'm fine. You know. So yeah,
curse those pixels.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really good game. I could say you could sit and play it all in one go, or it could be one of those games that you just pick up and play. You could do it either way. So I think there's a bit here for a fair amount of different players. So I would recommend picking it up if it appeals to you.
Cool. I might grab it on Vita, and then it'll be cross-play.
I definitely suggest getting it. I can see you really enjoying it. Purely based on the fact that A, you're murdering everybody, and B, it's like you like old school arcade games, and it plays like an old school arcade game.
Super happy fun times for me.
Yes.
Oh dear.
You're going to enjoy the dude with the chainsaw, let's put it that way.
For everyone else, Postal is a guilty pleasure. For me, it's just a pleasure. So
yes, I would say Postal's a
I was going to say, you like Postal, you're going to love this. Like, you really will. It's definitely, I suppose, more challenging than Postal, which is the added bonus to it, really.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that you're going to like some of the characters as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially some of the more off-the-rails ones. I came out of it. My favourite guy at the end of the day was the mob boss's son. I ended up really liking that character. I was like, that's quite cool. I didn't expect that. And going on through the forums, it's interesting to see the variety of favouritism going on, that people favour different characters. There's no one character that seems to be...
There's no one true fan
except
favourite.
the character that's become a bit of a meme, but I can't really tell you why he's become a meme, because it would ruin his plot and the story.
Okay.
But the meme around him is fucking brilliant. Like, it's one of the funniest things I've seen.
Say, another couple of podcasts.
All I'm going to say is... Manny Pardo. There's a detective Manny Pardo, and there's like a bit of a meme that's developed around him, and it's hilarious. It's quite funny. But yeah, definitely a wicked game.
Cool.
Fantastic. Well, moving on to TV film review, because we have actually absolutely nothing in our show notes this month.
Isn't it great?
It's good, isn't it?
Let us know, what's this review? Is it a TV
It's a TV series. It's a TV series.
Okay.
Series that's been sat on my Netflix list for several months, and I've been watching Breaking Bad.
Whoa, okay.
He's caught up with the rest of the world.
I have. It's awesome. Why has no one told me before?
Welcome to the now.
Has there been no media coverage about how awesome this game is, and why has no one said to me how awesome this game TV series is? It's fucking awesome.
It is
so when the hell did they make a game about it?
It's brilliant. It's
Cooking Mama, meth edition.
Cooking Mama.
Yeah. It's one
The
man's
blue meth version.
One man's just sent into.
Cooking
I
with,
know the
Heisenberg.
overall plot is basically it's about one guy's just sent into sort of from being quite a nice, happy person Well, not happy.
I was going to say
But-
happy.
Yeah.
If that's happy,
a nicest
holy hell.
person to being a total dickhead. I know it's basically the overarching plot, but it amazes me as to how early on it hits it. You start getting sort of hints of that straight away, quite early on.
Yeah.
I mean, in the first season, he sort of barely a couple of seasons, he beats somebody up. Well, not beats somebody, he kicks on the back of the legs and threatens them, and then blows someone's cars up not long after
Doesn't
that.
that dude really deserve it though?
He does. They all deserve it. They all deserve
That's
it.
the dude that picks on his son, isn't it?
Yeah, they all deserve it. They all do deserve it, but it's the overreaction.
I
That's
love
why-
it. It made me.
I do.
Endeared me to him.
It did, but it's like you can already see where it's going straight away. I was quite surprised that it hit that early on. They brought it in that soon. That quite surprised me. And I tell you what really surprised me was actually how funny it is. I thought it was going to be quite a serious scene, but I mean, episode 2 is almost per comedy.
Yeah, Bryan
Well,
Cranston's quite a funny guy.
No, that's
as well.
the thing as well, because I was going to say, because I'd always seen him in funny stuff. So
Malcolm
the
in the
fact
Middle.
that he was
Yeah.
like kind of a really kind of Walt isn't a nasty character to start with, really, but
No.
it's funny how the funny guy plays the fucking really nasty kind of dark guy so well.
Yes.
That was so weird.
It is. I was actually laughing out loud at saying this. It's like, this is per comedy. Was not expecting it about TV series about someone dying of cancer making drugs. I was not expecting that out of that TV series. I was a pleasant surprise.
So how far have you got in?
I'm episode 6 of the first season. So I'm actually at the end of the season. I've just met Tuco.
Okay.
So I'm now about to finish the first season.
Good old Tuco.
Bear in mind I started watching it yesterday.
Well,
So
damn, you're binging.
Yeah, binging. Yeah, I'll be binging when I get back home. It's brilliant.
The podcast almost didn't happen.
We'll have him up to Better Call Saul soon enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I was looking at it, and the season's actually quite short.
Yeah, it's
mostly.
American seasons. I think like five. Is it 5 or 6 episodes a season? 5 seasons.
Well, America's usually about 20 episodes a season. Usually,
Fuck
aren't they?
American. No, this is actually produced well. Unlike
Yeah.
the regular tat that you get from America.
No, it's beautifully shot. I mean, it's.
Oh, it really is. That's like
Yeah.
that is a masterpiece.
Vince Gilligan is a very, very good
cinematic
director.
masterpiece for the television.
Yeah, it's really nicely done. It's really quite slow. It's quite a slow burning, I'd say. You know, it builds up very slowly over the course of the first. I mean, it takes like 4 or 5 episodes before they start even considering doing drugs again. It's quite amazing how they spend 3 or 4 episodes just exploring the characters' backgrounds and sort of their relationships quite early on. It's amazingly well
You say
done.
that, but it's actually kind of weird because they do that throughout the entire run of the show, don't they?
Yeah.
There's always something new they'll pull up about the characters that you didn't. You know, you thought you already knew.
Look,
the
how we
characters
never knew
pretty
how
well.
awesome Gail is at karaoke.
I mean, it's always you already got characters that you like. There's all got characters you don't like. I mean, I quite like Walt, but I'm sure I'll get pissed off by the end of the series.
I actually never really did. I still liked him by the end. Everyone else was saying they really hated him. And I was like, no, I still think he's quite cool.
Jesse was annoying me initially, but he's got on to me. I quite endeared to his little son. Not his little son, his son. I feel a bit sorry for his son. But I feel quite endeared to him.
Breakfast Junior.
Yeah, Breakfast Junior. Yeah. Can't stand the guy Dale, his brother-in-law, the DEA agent. Can't stand him. I don't like him at all.
He might grow on you as it goes along, because I didn't like him to begin with, but then I ended up kind of liking him towards the end.
Yeah, you kind of.
I
Especially
found
with his obsession that unfolds. It always made me laugh
The
when
thing
he's collecting things.
The thing that really got me with the season was that at the start you kind of like Walt. You think Jesse's a whiny little bitch.
You really don't like Hank to begin with,
Yeah.
like Nick just said. Everyone hated Hank to
But then
begin
all
with.
of a sudden, you really start to dislike Walt more, and
Yeah.
everyone else just starts to kind of flow.
Hank becomes definitely more likeable towards the end.
I think what put me off him straight away is right early on.
The first episode,
He messes around. He messes. He pulls his gun out in a family home, hands it to a youngster, sort of shows off to him. I found out he's a bloody DEA agent. I thought, bloody hell! Talk about not having any sort of. You should know better. It was basically what I thought. That you should know better than that to sort of hand out. I mean, perhaps just all British mentality, guns, or sort of idea of having just someone just walking up, putting a gun out of the pocket in a house just seems very odd.
Maybe that's a normal thing in America.
In America, it probably is. They probably have that gun sat around in this. And you say, this is my
if I can
main
carve
gun.
the turkey with their gun.
Yeah.
There weren't,
yeah.
so the only character I ended up disliking is Skylar. That was about the only character I didn't like.
Walt's whiny wife.
Yeah. Which is interesting, because in contrast, I ended up really liking Hank's wife.
Yeah, I think we
Because-
mentioned this before when
yeah.
we were talking about Better Call
Yeah.
Saul, but I did not like Skylar.
Yeah, she was the only character I ever really took against that I can think of.
I was fortunately being set up to be sort of the bitchy wife, but actually, early on, she really cares. It's clear she really cares for what's best for him and her family.
It's mid sort of way through the show you'll start to sort of, or at least for me, I started to dislike her. By about season 3, I think that really kicked in. And I was just like, oh, she's really annoying now. I can't really go into why because it will ruin things. So yeah,
this is going to sound really weird as well because the whole point is Walt trying to get money for his kids and his family because he's going to die and he doesn't really have anything. But if I had to be honest, I really didn't give a shit about Walt's family life. Like, I didn't care about Skylar at all. If she'd have been hit by a bus after the first episode, I wouldn't have gone, oh no, now Walt hasn't got a wife.
I think you kind of find Walt Jr. is quite an endearing
I
character.
like Walt Jr.
Yeah.
I just don't like the rest of his family. So
I suppose it's not to say about what we like. It is meant to be about what the characters are. You are watching. Is Walt cares for his family? They're his family. If one of them's a bit bitchy, he cares for them. He's going to look after them. And
I'd have rather he just ended her. To be fair,
but no, great.
I think he probably would have done a couple of times in the season.
Yeah, for sure. She should have been caught in the crossfire, fucked everything up. If I had a wife like that, I'd probably have offed myself.
Like, there's characters in it as well that you really shouldn't like that you do. Like, I won't mention anything about him because I don't want to ruin it for Nick, but the dude in the last season that helps them out with stuff. What the heck is the dude's name? The guy that looks like Matt Damon.
Oh, the
guy that's clearly very, very autistic. The guy that's sort of...
I know who you're talking about because he was part of like another company, wasn't he? Like a bug spraying.
Yeah, that's the dude.
Like that.
Yeah, that's the dude.
I know who you're talking about.
Just the way he reacts to things is very sort of I found that guy really funny, even though he's like proper messed up. It was like that's
messed
amusing.
up ain't word for it. Like you think that some of the other people you see in the season they're kind of like, whoa.
Tuco, for example.
Them guys, the guys that guy hangs out with, you're just like, all right, that was a bit much. But so. Other than that, I mean, anything you don't like, really don't like.
No.
Skylar.
In terms of Castle, there's nothing about it I don't dislike. I quite like. I've not come across anything I dislike about it. Really, I like the way it's shot. I dislike the characters, but I like. I don't dislike them. I think they're terribly written characters. I just don't like them as people. If that makes sense. They fit within the context of the series.
I think my main problem arose with the Skylar thing was that when I realised that she wasn't meant to be written to be unlikable, and I was like, and I think Vince Gilligan got a bit mad that she got so much hate as she did. I was like, you really wrote her in a way that made her
Didn't he say that people were hating her for the wrong reasons?
And I was like,
no, she's
my reason for not liking her was because of the acceptance of the shit Walt was doing, and it was just like, okay, and then having a go at him, and you're like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it, love. Jesus Christ, like
she just came across as a really snivelly.
Yeah,
things weren't going her way. She wanted all the best parts, but couldn't handle any of the
pressure. Like, yeah.
So what side of this do you want? You're either a part of it or you're not. Shut the fuck up. Go jump off a bridge. Go get hit by a bus by episode 2.
Saul is my favourite character, though. And Huel. I love Huel. He's brilliant.
But I feel what makes it good because they're not just one-dimensional characters. They have got these sort of deeper personalities. And
well, the fact that they've managed to make an entirely separate season on one of the characters already and bring out loads of the backstory of the other characters.
Have you watched... Are you up to date with it? Oh, shit. That Mike episode. How good was that?
That was awesome.
It was very good.
Nick wouldn't have seen Mike yet, would he?
No.
Brilliant character.
No, because Saul comes in season 2.
I imagine I'll be there by the time we next meet up.
Yeah.
I imagine I'll be there.
You'll easily be there by the time we next meet up. Saul
it'd have finished it, but
I would have thought so. Yeah, I mean, it's not the episode series aren't very long, so I would have thought a couple of weeks I'll be done from. To be honest, that's good.
I munched through it fairly quickly. It was quite. Just ran straight through them. Love it. It's a good series.
No, brilliant series.
It's one of those series where I put off watching it for ages because everybody else liked it. I'm like, oh, well, if the masses like it, it must be shit, And then I was like, oh, well, actually,
the story of Thorny's life.
Quite good. Well, no, most of the time that is the case. I'll get these really popular shows, and I'll just. But the only other one that really was really popular that I put off for a while and then watched was The Sopranos, and then I was like, actually, this is really good. But then there've been other ones that I've picked up and just been like, these suck. Why am I why does everybody like this? You know, like as normally when it's stuff like Arrow and that, where it's like superheroes but with Hollyoaks shit shoehorned in, and I'm like, I'm not really into that, you know. But yeah.
Breaking Bad was one of the ones that I heard about as it was airing in America, and then I completely forgot about it until it was up to like season 3, and I was like, hang on a minute, I should probably actually sit down and watch that, because the same people are still saying how great that series is.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah.
I know some people started to peter off around season 4 or 5, that some people dropped out and stopped watching it, but yeah, if you go all the way through, it's well worth it.
Now, here's a question I want to know. Did anyone know? Was it... Because some series were written with a lifespan in mind. So, you know, they think, okay, we're planning to do this for 5 seasons. This is our plotline for 5 seasons. This is what we're going to do. And if they're lucky, they'll say, okay, well, you have a season 6. Like, oh, shit. We need to do something else. And that's when they feel tacked on. Whereas some of the opposite, they like, okay,
I can't remember whether...
I did hear that they only just scraped in a lot of cases whether or not they were actually going to continue, kind of thing. Like I think it might have even been in season 5 or what. Because
the ending changed, didn't it? Not only did the ending change, there were characters like early on that were meant to die.
Yeah, they were supposed to have offed Jesse in the first season.
I'm guessing when he gets beat up by Tuco, I'd imagine that's when the point was going to happen.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but then they were like, we couldn't do it because all of a sudden the character we thought everyone was going to hate, people really quite liked, and the people that we thought were really going to be liked really kind of fucked that up.
The simple reason I asked that is because I said no, some seasons has been structured. I mean, a good example is Babylon 5, the sci-fi series. The guy who created that had all 5 seasons written out before he even put it first and started filming. He knew what every 5 season was going to be, what the overall plot level was going to be, and so forth.
From what I did hear, they struggled to even get funding for the first season.
Yeah.
And if... what was the guy's name that wrote it again?
Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, if he'd have found out that the show Weeds existed, he wouldn't have even pitched it, apparently.
Which sucks, because Weeds is nowhere near as good as
I didn't like Weeds at all. But...
I can see why, because I mean, as a concept, the idea of, I want to make this show. It's about this guy who's a teacher and he gets cancer and then he decides to start making drugs. It doesn't sound like a top end class show,
because top end class shows are boring. We get so much of the same shit shoveled down our throats.
But what I'm saying is, I can see
such a plain.
Yeah, you can't see the mass appeal in it,
and I can't see a TV company going for it. Than saying, yeah, we want to make a show about someone breaking the law and getting away with it. We want to make a show about that.
I'm sure they said it was one of the seasons.
I was going to say The Sopranos. That went on for long enough. And
that's but it's because it's gangster based. Somehow that's sort of a step removed from most people. Most people will not have encountered gangsters in their daily life, but a lot of people have had indirect dealings with that they may not be involved with themselves. They've probably had indirect dealings with drugs. They'll either have met somebody or come across somebody or see it in the news frequently. It's a bit more close to home.
Tastes really weird,
but it's a bit more close to home, and it's whereas like the case of it's a bit like any sort of group of people who most people won't have had meetings with, people will be instantly find interesting because you can get away with stuff with them. So in the case of Sopranos, most people probably would never met a mafia person, or even if they did, wouldn't even realise. So the idea of it's a fantasy idea almost in a way, something like a fantasy.
They kind of did that with The Sopranos. I mean, a lot of The Sopranos was based around Tony's actual life outside of the mafia, and I think that was what made it the show it was, because it did focus on the fact that this guy is just a normal everyday guy when he's not doing the mob kind of stuff. Yeah, it was I think that sells well. I think that the idea of crime in television is, well, it's always going to be appealing, isn't it? Because people like to think of the idea of living on the edge and doing what you shouldn't be doing, and an ordinary guy who's down on his luck kind of taking it upon himself to be like, right, fuck this, I'm going to get things back my way, and it's a...
Well, I think, for what I've watched so far, it's really interesting how they do make it seem like these people really are living right on the edge of... Well, Walt is, for the whole season, very close to being caught for the whole first... I'm assuming it carries on for the rest of the season.
And then like getting involved with people like Tuco, and you're thinking, shit, he's going to get himself killed because he's nowhere near professional enough to be dealing with these guys. Like,
no, I do like his solution is he does tend to take the sort of science solution. So his first is he blows up Tuco's house. Spoilers.
I think we can safely spoil it. Yeah, it's just been long enough.
Unless you're like me and hasn't actually watched it yet.
Yeah.
Get off your Netflix and watch it. It's a good series.
really is.
You haven't had Walter's backstory yet, though, have you? His proper backstory yet. I don't
Well-
think that happens until seasons. One of the
I
latest
can't
seasons.
remember.
Like why Walt is where he is and why he's not kind of
Yeah,
rocking
with
a
all
much
the
bigger
business
deal.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I had that yet. I think that's towards the end of season 2 that comes
Yeah,
in.
seriously, Nick, that's good.
It is
It's
good,
really good.
yeah.
So get there and be all like, "Damn, they were right. That was good."
Yeah,
That's
I'm,
good.
I'm intrigued by
I mean,
it.
we were discussing this. I was discussing Better Call Saul with a mate in my pub, and we just said, well, now we know what went down in Philly, and it was just like, yeah, something from ages ago in Breaking Bad has now basically been sort of shown to us in Better Call Saul. So all these things are just coming together, and I love how Vince does that. He throws things together, like you'll forget about it, and then ages ago you'll be like, so that's why that is how it is, kind of thing. Yeah, it's and the build up in season 2, which I won't mention what it is, but season 2, at the beginning of every episode, starts with a little thing that happens, and it's kind of giving you a slice of a story that will basically build up, and when you get it, it's just like very, very cool.
The bear in the pool.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was weird.
That was very. It's
Just
really
saying.
trippy. And you're like, well, what's actually going on there? And yeah, then you kind of figure it out. And it's like
That's a
the
good
way
one.
it was done was really
That's
good.
also good. Watch it. Watch
I
more
will
now.
do.
Stop
I'll be
doing the
honest,
podcast,
to
Nick.
be
Just
hon-
go home.
All right, see you later. Well, to be fair, I'll probably be there by Sunday. The way I'm going.
I'll be interested to see how you feel about all the different characters now
Yeah.
by the time you get to the end of this.
Yeah,
the end of the
totally.
season. And then, are you going
Well,
to follow
flash-
up directly with Better Call Saul?
Yes.
Cool.
Assuming I don't all get put off by it, as time goes on. I may dislike it as time goes on, but I don't think I will.
I doubt it.
Better not. But cool.
It'd be cool actually, so I can talk to you about because we've actually all watched it.
Mm-hmm. It was a surprising show.
It was, yeah.
Really good show.
I'm really surprised. Everybody was saying, "Yeah, it's really good. You need to watch it." And I've been so surprised. Actually, I just didn't. I couldn't see how they could stretch the whole idea. I thought it must be full of padding, but it really isn't. I was really surprised by it. I'm pleasantly
Later
surprised
on,
by
there's
it.
a bit of padding, but not so much as you think there would be. So
It's
yeah.
more kind of character development, family
Yeah.
life.
I don't know.
stuff.
They do pad it a little bit sometimes, don't they? I mean, the Fly episode. Although I did love it, it was still just like okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
No,
enough.
I get it. I remember that one though. Yeah. But we can't go into that
We
because
can't go into it. No, it's just
Yeah,
again,
that's so hard to talk
Next
about this.
podcast, we'll
Yeah.
find out.
That's all good.
Excellent.
Cool.
Oh, so Breaking Bad, good. Watch it
excellent.
if you
yes.
haven't already, which I'm sure everybody else has. Right, on to news. Steam.
Mm.
I want to ask you about this because you're into your streaming and so forth.
I'm actually getting back into it. Yeah. It seems
Yes.
the technology hasn't really changed any since I last left.
Strange
so,
that.
Yeah.
Steam broadcast. I think it's called Steam Broadcast. Valve have now launched the Steam. You can start broadcasting your games,
Hey.
Okay.
and it used to be available to certain people. Now it's available to everybody.
Okay. I mean,
Next
I had seen like little feeds and YouTube videos and stuff were all over Steam, depending on how you got to a certain page or whatever. But
Yeah, it was at one point restricted to certain people. I don't know
Okay.
how they. I don't know how they determined that. But since now's update, anyone can do it.
Okay.
Anyone can stream. Thoughts?
is this something that you have to turn on, or is it automatic, or?
Well, I think you have to tell it to start streaming. I don't think people can just watch your game regardless. You have to
Well,
tell
'cause I was
it
going
to
to
start
say, On Live used to have something like that, where if you were playing a game, the second you turned it on, people could actually come in and watch.
You see, I'd hate that. I'd want to turn that off. I will not. I understand it's odd, but I'd like to think that it's my time. I've got some little dick watching it, thinking this guy's shit.
No, it's not like they could comment on it.
No,
still,
of course, but
that was just part of the thing.
I still like the idea that someone's watching thinking this guy's shit. That's what I've got my Let's Plays for. That's
Yeah, for sure. That's why I post videos on YouTube.
I'm quite the opposite. I'd quite like that. Just be.
It was a
playing
neat
game
little
around
feature
a
because
bit
then you
and
could
be
see how the game played and
Yeah.
what it was like, and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so Steam.
So I just like try and trap it. If I thought someone was watching, I'd just like spin around really, really quick, try and give them motion sickness.
I used to troll like that in my Let's Plays on occasional points. And whenever I did make a video on YouTube, we always used to do something stupid, like we'd purposely die, or one of the things, because I'm quite known for Army of Two stuff. You never guess being an Army of Two fan, but
No, seriously.
One of
that
the
wall
things I
behind you
know-
that can't be seen on the podcast. Yeah.
I didn't know you liked Army of Two.
nah, I don't really. But one of the things that really winds people up when you play that game, if they're watching, I never upgrade my guns unless I really, really fucking need to. Because the game ain't that hard anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think. And there's always people like, for fuck's sake, upgrade your fucking guns. Upgrade your guns, you guys are shit, upgrade your guns. I'm like, dude, chill out. Just playing a game, having a laugh. Oh, why haven't you upgraded your guns? And then, like, right at the last episode, I'll be like, right, I've got a minigun now. Saved up all my money, pulled up a minigun, just wipe everyone out. Well, it's like, look, you told me to upgrade my gun. Shut the fuck up.
That's one hell of an upgrade.
Well, yeah, for sure. I can remember
That's
the first...
interesting,
I'll
actually.
upgrade my gun to a nuke.
It'd be interesting to play a game like Payday and just stay on level 1 the whole time. Not ever upgrade anything. Just stay with the basic pistol and the basic machine gun.
Well, that's what I did with the first army of 2, and I completely forgot that when you're downed, because you're not dead, you can still shoot.
Yeah.
And I got downed, we were separated by the end boss, and I got downed on a bridge, and because we were separated and the guys in the middle, there was no way that my teammate could come and save me.
Right.
And I was like, hang on a minute, I can still shoot, and I've got a fucking minigun. So I'm just fucking, the guy's standing there gloating, and I pull out the fucking minigun, just gets lifted, and the guy gets shredded to dust. I was like, yes! Fucking
That's why I upgrade.
One-handed minigun fire.
So fucking going full-blown Arnie on that motherfucker, but that was such an amazing kill. I love them games so much.
We'll have to let's play them or something.
Yes, for sure. When I get everything set up, we'll have to do that. Seeing as the first game is the only one of the season or series that doesn't have online support anymore.
No.
Bastards.
How dare they?
Yeah, no, it's fucking stupid. How dare EA make a decision that impacts my gaming?
Fuck EA.
Yeah.
Fuck
EA
EA.
suck.
Fucking hell.
The
fucking
only
EA,
good thing they've
fucking
ever
EA.
released recently at least, Army of 2. That's it. Ever. But that's me kind of going off on another little thing. So
Anyway,
Steam streaming.
thoughts?
So I mean,
Do you see it taking off like YouTube?
No, God no. I mean, is there any comment system or?
I don't know. It's literally, I believe so. I believe you can comment on people's videos, like, because you know you can like record, you can like post. You have like the community page, don't you, where people can post like pictures and screenshots of what they've done on
Dunno.
games.
If I had to be honest, I don't really click around. I literally go to the store, library, play. I don't.
Well,
bother
every
going to the
game
forums
has
or anything.
a like community page you can go onto, and you can set, and people can put guides up on there.
Oh, right.
So people can put guides, or they can put like screenshots up.
So I guess the only one of those I've gone on to, I guess, would be Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1, and I went to the little forum page and just saw all these people QQing about things that they had no control over. So from that point on, I was kind of put off from Steam community pages.
Steam
Some
community
of
pages
them
can be
cool
pretty
shit.
good. I mean, the reviews and stuff I like. I like the fact that games can be reviewed by the community.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I just see that on the store page.
Very
So-
often,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty handy.
That's part
like,
of the, but it's all the community stuff that's
Yeah.
integrated into everything else. So that's part
Okay.
of the community thing.
It's
So-
often handy when a game first comes out to jump on the community thing to see what people are saying, because you might find that there's a problem. I mean, a lot of devs, I mean, Hotline Miami is a good example. It's had shitloads of updates since this came out, because the devs have been monitoring the Steam community.
Same with what happened
And,
with Rebirth 1.
yeah, people have been talking about things saying, oh, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed.
There's a lot of, I mean, you get quite a bit of shit on the Steam community because people will just post the odd
Oh, God, yeah.
random screenshot of like nothing. Hey,
Or
look, this is a
just start
screenshot of the
face
title
rolling.
screen. Like, excellent,
Good
fantastic.
job, guys.
Or
Yeah.
someone's dodgy Photoshop. I remember Walking Dead 2, the very first episode. In the first Walking Dead, from the story Telltale game series, there's a little character called Duck. His name is his
Oh,
nickname.
yeah.
And Walking Dead 2, Clementine goes into a house and she just sees a picture of a normal duck, as in the mallard type duck, on the wall, and she gets briefly reminded of Duck the character. So somebody didn't realise that was enough, obviously, of a connection that people wouldn't figure this out, so they decided to Photoshop Duck, the character for the first game, to head onto the duck picture in the second game. It's like, yeah, we got the reference. We don't need you to put that Photoshop on there. What are you trying to prove? Thank you for your contribution, but just
Good
forget
old Nick.
about it. Well, it wasn't needed.
I love it. I could just see him in like a school criticising children's drawings. It'd be amazing. You didn't need to do that. Is that meant to be a house? Why's that house got legs?
There's not enough detail in that. Those ones out of proportion. I'm sure you don't meet building requirements. So.
Oh, brilliant.
So opinions on Steam streaming. From what I know of it, which obviously isn't a lot, I don't really care for it. I don't see much of a point. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any real... We don't know if you can develop...
Steam streaming, I'm just going to say, sounds like taking a piss after a night on the Raz, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But so I can't... Maybe you can get an audience, followings, whatever. 'Cause I don't see that in Steam. Like, you can't get followers or anything like that, so there's no real point there. No one's going to subscribe to your streams or anything like that. It's a per-game basis, so we're going into the point in that. A lot of people are going to only really want to do stuff if they can make money, and I guess you can't do that on Steam either, so no, I don't see the point, especially when now Twitch has overtaken YouTube, from what I understand. So, no. One thing I can see,
now, what I thought myself, well, if Valve was EA, which they're not, fortunately, or Ubisoft, or any of the other major companies, I thought, I know what they would do next. They would update Steam that if a phone had XSplit installed, it wouldn't let you use it. They would, wouldn't they? I could see it doing that, saying, okay, you can't use this streaming software because we have our own streaming software. I could see that happening. Mm-hmm. Remember how in the old games, Far Cry used to do it. Very first Far Cry, if you had a DVD copying software installed on your PC, it would refuse to install.
Yeah, stuff like any DVD
or clone CD. Yeah. First Far Cry.
And that's when everybody pirated Far Cry, I guess.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you could get cracks online. Couldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, I just downloaded crack for it. I owned the game, but I went and downloaded crack for it because I got fed up with the fact I had to. Yeah, if you tried to install it with any DVD based software, it wouldn't let you install it. Then if you installed the software again, it wouldn't let the game run. It would say the game is detected. Far Cry has detected CD clone or / emulation software on your PCs must be uninstalled first.
No,
as somebody points
to developers, this is why people.
It wasn't right. It wasn't. It wasn't. To be fair, it wasn't Crytek's. They didn't want it in there. Their publisher put it in there. They didn't want it, which is why they sort of moved away from that publisher as best they could. Unfortunately, they then lost the Far Cry name in the process of doing so. They didn't want it on there. I mean, I was pissed off because I thought, well, I paid for the software.
Yeah, you paid for it and you're being treated like a thief.
But I also paid for the DVD software. So I thought, well, I bought this legally. I bought this from a legitimate source legally. You can't penalise me for having it on there.
Yeah, totally.
So, I mean, a lot of people kicked off about it, and in the end, I just downloaded a cracked exe for it.
A lot of people used to do that, didn't they, to get past a lot of that stupid stuff, like always.
And I used to download a lot of no CD cracks because half the time you didn't need the CD. I used to download a lot of no CD cracks because I couldn't be faffed to find the CD to put in the drive.
You do a full install of the game, say a 15 gig install, or 20 gig install of a game, and then all of a sudden it's like, you need the CD, and or you need to swap to CD too. It's like, why the full? It's literally spinning up the disc for a second.
Yeah, to see if you got the disc there.
So. Fuck you.
Yeah, and then put no CD crack on it.
That was kind of the start of really Steam, weren't it? Then Steam came out. I was like, oh yeah, well... And the funny thing is, I also had once upon a time that Steam was actually using a crack from no CD cracks. It was the same executable that was being pushed down. For the,
you mentioned before, release. I've tried to find that information. I've never been able to find information on that, though.
Oh, fair do. I remember seeing screenshots of it.
Yeah, it might be. It might be a case it's just well hidden. I don't think they would actually admit to it.
Yeah, probably not. That's probably not a thing anymore.
No. Well, it's not anymore, is it? Because it's if you have a
Steam
game
is the only platform.
Yeah.
I just thought of something totally random and unrelated to anything we've been talking about, but I'm going to throw it out there. Have either of you guys ever seen a film called The Room? We need to watch it.
It wouldn't happen to be the one about the panic room, would it?
No. Okay. It's a really, 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 really awful film, but it's brilliant because it's really, really, really awful because it was never meant to be awful. It was meant to be a masterpiece, but it sucks, and that's why it's great.
It sucks so bad.
It sucks so bad that it's hilarious.
Who's got in it?
Tommy Wiseau.
Other characters?
You wouldn't know any of... Like, literally, if you don't know of The Room, you won't know anything about it. All you need to know is it's a film made by this absolutely fruitcake guy. He's just brilliant, and he tried to make this film as a serious film, and he's now playing... He's now playing it off as a dark comedy. That's Tommy Wiseau who directed and starred in it. And it's so bad that it's brilliant. Like, you have to see. It's one of those films you have to watch with other people, just because watching it on your own, you just be like, what the hell? When you watch it with other people, it's hilarious, and you can just throw quotes around and stuff. Yeah, brilliant. We need to watch it.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Random intersection there, fair enough.
Yep.
Good. So, Steam broadcasting at the moment, we can't see it taking off.
I just don't see the point, unless it's automatic.
What I don't want is like 1,000 people broadcasting their games constantly, because that'll just get boring.
What, you mean like Twitch?
Yes.
Okay. No comment.
Fair enough. So carry on with other news.
Twitch, like what we're using now.
Shh. Shh. Yeah, but we're special.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Moving on. So,
I put this in here more for you guys than I think for me, because I mean, I've never been into this chap's books so much. But obviously, about a week or so ago, Terry Pratchett died.
That was unexpected.
Biggest loss the literary community has had in a long time, I would say. Well, biggest loss ever, maybe. One of the best literary authors going, I would say, personally. Perhaps one of the most celebrated of recent times.
Yeah.
Easily one of the first people to get me into reading.
Didn't he have a shirt when he went to an event and it
I'm
said something
sure
like
I'm sure he owned a
Tolkien's
shirt.
dead. Who the fucking what's the woman that does Harry Potter?
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
She said no, and then someone else didn't bother to reply. Hi, I'm Terry Pratchett. So he was the fourth choice. He was poking fun at himself for once upon a time being one of the best-selling authors in the UK.
Right.
But then, he could walk around the showroom floor and.
I remember him hearing that his books were often the most highly shoplifted books out there. All the books that are the most commonly shoplifted ones.
It's all
apparently.
good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think he'd probably approve in
He did actually, because on a TV program they mentioned that. They said, "Oh yeah, it's like they actually." Someone asked the question,
in
"What's the most
Ankh-Morpork, that would be what would happen."
what's the most shoplifted book in the country?" And he goes, "It's mine." And he just went, "Yeah, it's mine." And he got points for that on the TV show. But that just means you must be loved. I mean, it's like Top Gear is one of the most pirated TV programs, one of the most pirated TV programs out there at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, because everywhere else in the world gets a crap.
I'd be
version of
pleased
it.
Yeah.
as punch if people were pirating my stuff I'd made. So I'd be like, yeah, that means it's well
People want to
received.
watch it.
Mm-hmm,
A lot of people want to watch it, but not pay for it. It's brilliant. No, but yeah, I mean, it's.
That means I'll be telling some other mug about it who will pay for it. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, yep, excellent.
I mean, I sort of read up a little bit after he saw die. I thought I'd read up on it a little bit, and it's quite sad. Actually, I didn't realise quite. I remember when the news press where he got Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise until you read for it actually how much it had affected him. Because right towards the end, where he wasn't even writing he was having to dictate his books to somebody else because he couldn't write them
Yeah, he had
anymore.
a
Yeah.
ghostwriter.
Yeah, and it's quite sad, really, how as hard as he took out somebody. It's really quite sad. But what I want to know is, what do you think is going to happen to Discworld now? Do you think that the estate will stop? And
I
not
hope that they're going to just release the last We Three Men book and leave it there. I don't want his daughter to take over. I don't think that that's right, because I don't think she'd. Obviously she's followed what her father has done, but I don't think she could capture it the same way he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it should probably
Have we got any examples of something she has done to sort of compare it to, or we're just assuming she can't?
Assuming, it's just assumption. But his style is so very unique that I can't see it. I mean, I'm not even sure if she wants to carry them on, but I would say that the best thing would be to leave it where it is. I think that you can very often overdo something. I mean, for a good example even being that Robert Jordan is a fantastic author. He took on Conan the Barbarian after Robert E. Howard's passing, and although they were good, they weren't anywhere near as good as Robert E. Howard's Conan books. So it was just it didn't need to be done. It was just better to just left it where it was.
Yeah.
I mean, the series as a whole, is there any? Is it a series that can just close off, or are there any sort of unresolved
it
plot
could easily
threads going
close
on?
off, couldn't it?
I don't think so. I think if they let it die now, they've really killed things off at one of the most interesting times. Because Ankh-Morpork has now hit,
Yeah, where it's gone into the steam age
yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. We're now going into the
Industrial
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
And it's now gone.
Yeah.
I think to myself, loads of my favourite characters are gone now.
Yeah.
One of the, as strange as it may sound, one of the kind of sad things that struck me was that Sam Vimes' son will never be much more than age 6 or 9.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I really want to see where that went. I wanted to know what
especially
happened.
considering that Vimes is pretty much one of his biggest characters,
Yes.
I would say. By far.
And all of my favourite characters have now just been
Although you
snuffed
see,
out.
It's like they've died as well.
I'll always be disappointed that I'll never get to see Sam Vimes played by Pete Postlethwaite, because that was something I always wanted to see. And then Pete Postlethwaite died, and it was like, shit, he would have been the perfect guy to play Sam. Well, it was who he based the character on, wasn't it? So it would have been brilliant to have seen. But yeah, I love those books. Though I mean, when I was very young, they were some of the books that first got me into reading. I started reading Dune, and I picked up.
What was your first Pratchett book?
Sorcery was
Sorcery.
my first one.
Mine was Hogfather.
And then Guards. In fact, actually, no, Guards was my first, because I picked Sorcery up and Guards. I started reading Sorcery. I didn't not like it, but I started reading Guards as well, and then Guards I ended up finishing before I finished Sorcery. So yeah, Guards would have been my first one, and that is the one I think is my favourite, to be honest. Just, all the Guards books tend to be the ones I tend to like the best.
Same,
just
pretty
because
much.
they have some of the more endearing characters.
Least favourite arc.
That's a tough one. I find the Wizards a little bit dull sometimes, as much as but that's not a bad thing because I love the Wizards, but not as much as say some of the other characters.
It just seems like it's so much easier to write about the other characters.
Yeah,
than the
Witch
Wizards.
is always very interesting. The Guards are always very interesting.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Moist?
Yeah, Moist is awesome. I love Moist. Very
Time
good
Monks?
character. Huh?
What about the Time Monks?
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, Moist is one I really do like. Though.
That was actually
one of my top characters.
It was Going Postal that got me back into Discworld because for a time I stopped reading, and then all of a sudden Going Postal came out and I kind of saw it. And it was one time I can't remember if this is before or after I met Inky, but I was lent Going Postal the book and I was due to go in for surgery, and I actually started reading it before I went in for surgery, and that stuck with me. It was such a really cool book.
Yeah,
really
it's
well written.
Story,
I really liked the
it?
character. I wasn't sure what I'd think to the character to start with, and I was like, wow, this is actually really...
I like him because he's sort of very Hermes-like, isn't he? He's a bit of a trickster. And
yeah.
I like that kind of aspect of his character. He's like pretty much a rogue with a heart of gold, isn't he? Moist is his kind of...
and a golden
handle.
suit.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd never ever say that there's a Pratchett book I don't like. I do have to say that I find his earlier stuff, which is natural for any author, to be lacking in comparison to a lot of his later works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Guards will always be my favourite. The Guards books are...
They always say that if you've read later Pratchett books, if you then go back to
harder
Colour of
to
Magic,
read.
it's a lot harder to kind of get into it and get into the characters, even though they're still just as good.
Oh yeah, yeah. His writing style changed a bit, though, didn't it? I think that's maybe
he
what
found
it
his
is.
feet. He got into this groove. It
was
was almost like it was more of a flow.
The world building as well, because Discworld, if you go back and read the Colour of Magic and the Light Fantastic and that, the world feels really different compared to what it turned into. Like, you can tell that it was originally meant to be a little bit more gritty compared to how comedic it ended up becoming. Like,
yeah, because like Dibbler changed.
They're all nasty, aren't they? There's
Dibbler
quite a few
changed.
hardcore, nasty characters at the beginning, and then when you get through them, they become more endearing and likeable. So yeah. The Librarian as well is another big favourite character of mine, and it would be remiss to not mention Death, who is pretty much one of his biggest characters. I mean,
his daughter tweeted out, announced his death in the character of...
Ah,
yeah, I saw that, yeah.
I mean, my when I heard the news, my first post was that I'd like to think that the Reaper would be asking for his autograph and thanking him for all the good press, because he pretty much turned the reputation of the Grim Reaper around, I think, by making him into an endearing character and made him likeable.
I just said I hope that Pratchett enjoyed his curry.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
You just reminded me of one of my favourite sort of I think it's XKCD comic strips. It's when Gary Gygax died, the Dungeons & Dragons creator, when he died.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Death's playing a game with Gary Gygax, because he normally plays Chesapeake's playing Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
And he's on the phone to him saying, I'm going to be here for hours. He keeps changing the rules. Oh God, he's getting another rule book out.
That's good.
This pile of rule books next to it. It's like, oh, I'm going to roll natural 20.
Good old Gary Gygax. Used to love them old Greyhawk campaigns. Very cool.
Yeah. No, so sad loss. I mean, I've never really been a fan, but I felt very sad about the whole thing. It's like, oh, what am I buy for Dad for Christmas this year?
Can I just say that's something that's going to suck.
That's true.
He released a new book like near enough every year.
Yeah, but it's great because he's sold my Christmas present for my father for the last 10 years. What am I going to do this year? I'm going to actually think about something.
Go back and get one of the books he hasn't got.
He's got all of them.
I watched.
Has he got the one that's written for children?
Yes, he's got all of them. He has got every single Pratchett book.
Grabbing, even the World of Pooh and
he's got all of them.
Where's My Cow?
Yeah,
Where's My Cow is the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
it's awesome.
I read that.
He's got all like Maurice and his Amazing Road. He's got all those as well, and all the Science of Discworld books. He's got all them.
Has he got the rare ones like the maps?
I've got the maps.
I think he's got one of them.
Because you've got the map to the Underworld.
Death's
Dome.
You've got Death's Domain, the City of Ankh-Morpork, and the map of the disc.
Yeah.
And then you had like Granny Og's cookbook, the original Discworld companion.
I've got
stuff
the
like that.
the one that came out a couple of years ago, the complete Ankh-Morpork. That's quite good.
Oh, I didn't see that
That's
one.
a nice one.
Aren't they partly done by Stephen Briggs as well?
Yeah.
Because when you said, should his daughter take over, I thought the more logical choice would have been Stephen Briggs, because they said that if anyone knows Discworld more than Terry Pratchett, it'd be Stephen Briggs.
Well, actually, what was it?
Well, is he much of a writer, Stephen Briggs?
Weren't we was it this you I was discussing this with about the fans? Where Pratchett and his fan base, where if he gets stuck on a novel...
That was me.
It was, with Nick, well, he rings his fans and asks them...
Yeah, he's a group of 6 or so, he's a group of about a dozen or so he did have a group, about a dozen or so fans who are real nerds about the whole series, and if you'd like to want to know how long does it take a character to get from this street to this street, you just bring up and say, excuse me, because it's that situation where the fans know more about the US than he did.
So it always kind of made me chuckle a bit, because I watched the kind of interviews about the production of the Going Postal TV show.
Yeah.
And Pratchett's like, I never really think of the story. I never plan it out. I just kind of come up with a brief idea and then just let it go. And then where it goes is
a lot of the
whatever.
best authors do that, you know.
Unlike all these people that have strict plans, like this is where it starts and this is where I want it to end. And they already know before they start. Pratchett's just like... I've got this character and I don't know much about him, but fuck it, I'm just going to write it
roll
anyway
with
and
it.
see where it
Where
goes.
the character takes you.
And
Well, Chris used the same thing. She never used to know who the murderer was until she was at the end of the book. She never knew who the murderer was. That's why
pluck the name out of the hat.
Pretty much why she always used to make all the more very
figure it out for her.
Yeah. Well, it was actually. She hated Poirot. Do you know she absolutely hated him as a character?
Really? Why?
Yeah. She didn't. She thought he was a. She didn't like his attitude to people. She didn't like the fact that he was a bit of a dick. She
created a dude she hated.
She did.
That's amazing.
That's unusual.
She wanted to stop. She was a bit like she had a bit of the Arthur Conan syndrome. She wanted to stop writing Poirot books. People liked them too much, but she hated him, and she wanted to stop writing for him.
Pratchett always had trouble with the guards. He said he loved the guards, but the trouble was, no matter who you started the story about, it would be so easy to turn it into a guards book.
I love the ones with, it's kind of awful in a way, but Robert E. Howard, when he started going a little bit mad, said that he couldn't stop writing Conan books because he envisioned Conan threatening him constantly. That Conan was there making him write these books. And it's just like,
Okay.
Bless.
He was a little bit loony, older Howard. He's brilliant.
Why do you sit there like, okay, for the next book I'm going to write, if I'm manifesting Conan based on my books, the next book Conan's going to turn to a pacifist. then I'll be safe.
God, I could never imagine Conan as a pacifist. I can't see it happening.
Conan the negotiator.
That'd be really weird.
Conan the bartender.
Again, Cohen and Mad Hamish and his lot. I love those characters. Brilliant. That's the best Conan parody ever. What would Conan be like if he was an old bloke?
Yeah, Cohen
Brilliant.
the Barbarian.
Yeah. So
when they even spoofed the film with the what is best in life, good dentistry, hot towels. I can't remember what the other one was. Cup of tea, something like that. Just something that old people would like.
I actually went back because this was completely random. The day that Pratchett died, I did say to Inky before we even found out, I was like, Inky, have you ever watched the animated Discworld stuff? And she was like,
I didn't like them.
No, I've never seen them. I was like, really? I go, they're not great, but they're worth a watch. So we sat there and watched them. And although years ago when I watched them, I really fucking hated them, they're starting to grow on me.
Are they?
Yeah, the art style's not great.
I hate the art style.
And the characters are a bit squiffy in places, but they're right. I don't know why. It just seems like it fits.
When I watched them as well, I've been playing the game as well, and the game was so much better representation than those animated things were.
Makes sense.
I loved the game. The game was so cool.
Favourite Discworld game then?
Just the first one.
The first one, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all the Discworld games.
Bloody hard games, aren't they?
Really?
Yeah, if you don't read Pratchett, they are, because a lot of them are very Pratchett-esque puzzles.
I thought they were bog standard point and clicks.
Yeah,
really.
there's a few puzzles in there that if you don't read Pratchett, you'd be like, what
My
the hell
father
am
and sister
I
tried
supposed to
playing
do
it.
now?
They got
The
stuck.
bit with the butterfly is the one that catches people out, because you have
Quantum
to
Weather
read...
Butterfly, you put the thing over and you drown the...
Yeah.
Is it the Temple of Offler? The priest of Offler?
So you'd have to have read Pratchett to get it. And if you hadn't read Pratchett and you were
It
just
doesn't
playing the
make any
game,
sense, I get
you'd
it,
be like, what? Yeah.
Excellent.
That was good. It's a good game.
Shall we have a minute for Pratchett?
Just one last thing, though,
Yeah, go on.
before this. What is wrong with this world where you can die from a chest infection?
Yeah, man.
That's so fucking Because I always ask...
Have they now said... Because a lot of time, last I heard, they hadn't revealed why he died.
Last I heard, I could be wrong, but last I heard it was a chest
See,
infection.
I assumed
assumed
it's because the Alzheimer's that finished him off.
Not that I heard.
No.
But
He
again,
wasn't
like I
even
say...
really that far gone, was he, with the Alzheimer's? I mean, he was still coherent and stuff.
Apparently he'd got a chest infection around Christmas time and they never managed to shift it.
Oh, okay.
So eventually it just kind of, did him in, which is a shame.
Yeah.
So, okay, moment of silence.
Weird news.
Good job.
Of course, if we are live, that looks, again, very, very strange. I've got a bit of a weird news flashback first.
A weird news flashback?
Yes.
Wait, did we have flashback?
No, there was nothing in flashback. So this is
we
weird.
have nothing to flashback. Oh,
No,
my God.
we didn't.
Hang on, wait there. Thunder tits.
Yes.
There we go.
Weird news flashback. Remember I told you about the eagle owl that was attacking people?
Oh,
and
yes.
it's terrible. It's been captured.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been trapped by a falconer and it's in good health and currently kept in a temporary facility awaiting transfer to a proper permanent home, which has been found for it, presumably an oven.
First, I thought you were going to say it turns out it was a unicorn or something like that. But okay, that's fine.
I got a complaint.
You got a complaint?
I
Okay.
got from a Welsh listener.
Okay.
Yes, they complained that in fact we pronounced their village wrong.
Okay.
And he sent me the pronunciation guide
Oh, brilliant.
and the translation into English.
Okay, let's try this. Come on.
So, the pronunciation guide, this is the best way, this is in sort of for an English tongue
This
is.
can't be true.
This is what he sent me, and I verified it via Wikipedia, so it must be true. So,
Wikipedia, you ever seen that Bhutanese passport page? God.
yeah. So, it's Clanver, Paul Gun, Gil Goga, Unchum, Drug Os, Larat Leo Gugugok.
Which is exactly the same as you said at the first
No,
time.
but now I'm correct. And do you want to know what it translates into?
Bollocks.
No. St. Mary Church in the hollow of the White Hazel near to the rapid whirlpool of Linsello of the Red Cave.
Right, okay. So
This still
Wales
sounds like
still needs
crazy.
to be cut off the
Okay,
side of the
but
country.
he then pointed me in the direction of that was the second longest place name in the world. 58. The longest place in the world's got 97 letters.
Why?
Well, to
Is
just
it
give
still
you
Welsh?
This is like a
no,
bad IQ
it's in
test.
it's in New Zealand, and to give you an idea how long it is, it doesn't fit on one line.
God.
Leroy.
Is it
About-
easy to pronounce, though?
I don't think so. Taumata waka haka antaga hia hangak all amatua amata ita u tua puka aka pika mana gur hua hona yuka akapona anawena uka itana atahu.
I'm just halfway expecting you to start dancing around like a rain dance there.
All I have to say is Gesundheit.
In New Zealand, do you know what
Do you need a throat
translates?
sweet or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
Do
seriously,
you know what it
that sounds
translates
really-
into?
Go on then.
It's the summit where Tamatu, the man with the big knees, the climber of mountains, land swallow who travelled about, played his no flutes to his loved one.
Amazing.
That was unnecessary. Okay.
There you go. So there you go. We have a Welsh listener.
We have a Welsh listener and a complaint. Good job.
And
For
a-
once, I didn't feel the complaint.
Yeah.
They are so lucky.
Yeah.
Considering the mood I've been in recently.
So yeah, the Welsh. I'm amazed that someone in Wales actually even found the podcast. To be honest, but they
I'm surprised anyone can find the bloody podcast. Wait, was this the audio feed or the video
audio.
feed? No.
Yeah,
I do not believe
one
you.
of our
amazing.
one of our subscribers is Welsh.
But hang on a minute, wasn't that the last podcast?
Yes,
Half of me has to salute him because, you know, I'm
he has
halfway
got the
there
YouTube channel
myself.
as well.
Fair do.
But he's a subscriber, but he has the YouTube. Don't forget, I do mention the YouTube channel to every
We've
single
completed
podcast.
the triumvirate, almost. We need an Irishman now. We've got Divine, who's Scottish. We're English, clearly, and I'm part Welsh. This guy's Welsh. We need an Irishman.
A sword.
We can complete the Britannia.
We need someone for every
Think
part of the
we
empire.
All right, yeah, we need 2 Irishmen.
Oh
they
no!
They can fight, yeah.
Now watch the rage kicks in.
They can throw bottles at each other and, I don't know. What?
Anyway, on to proper weird news.
Is there any?
Yes, a few.
Oh.
We talked about Indian brides.
Yes.
You know, we remember the one
Well,
that
kind of.
We know the one that married somebody else at her wedding. because her husband had a fit.
Because she got bored.
Further information turns out she didn't realise he was epileptic. That's why she complained. But
What? All right, fine.
Another Indian bride had walked out of her wedding after the bridegroom to be failed to solve a simple maths problem. The bride asked the groom to add 15 and 6. He replied 17.
Oh dear.
She called off the wedding.
Good for her.
Apparently, the groom's family tried to convince the bride to return, but she refused, saying the man was illiterate. Which, to be fair, is not true. He just can't do math.
Yeah, she's just as stupid there.
She's just So he's literally he might be able to read, just can't do any mathematics.
You got space food.
Yeah. Local police said they mediated between the families, and both sides returned to the.
You could still eat them.
I'll wait for the play it. The argument.
Yeah, fuck's sake! You two are worse
You're
than
rude,
Just shut up. This is not a live studio audience. Fucking shut up. Shut up. Oh wait, hang on. We're supposed to have a live audience. Shut up. That's right.
We don't know.
We broke it.
I didn't break it. You broke by trying to switch straight
I
to
pressed the
simultaneously.
button, right? It's not my fault. The internet.
Anyway,
shit.
back to Indian brides. Apparently, the local police are mediated between the families, and both sides have returned to the gifts they gave them before the wedding.
Was one of the gifts a calculator?
Did they hand back all of the gifts because they couldn't remember how many they actually had?
One of them bought a calculator, the other one has a thesaurus. That's brilliant.
Oh dear. On to dumb criminal news. A chap by the name of Christopher Miller from New Jersey, US of A. There's a there's a British one coming up. This is a combined story. So in 1999, he got a 15-year prison sentence because he robbed a string of stores called Stride Right, which is, I believe, a shoe shop. Doing which he accosted the cashier. So he was then released after 15 years.
And then he did it again.
He went to the exact same shop he robbed the first time, accosted the exact same cashier, and robbed them again on the same day. He got released.
Good job.
The cashier recognised him from the last time, and probably faced the police, so he's back in prison for another 10 to 20 years.
He did that on
He clearly missed his time in prison, didn't he?
He clearly did.
It was easier in prison than
and
it
on a
was
related note, this happened literally within a day of each other. A man in England, in fact King's Lynn to be more exact, he decided that before he's going to go rob somewhere, he decided to be a sensible thing, and he posted about it on Facebook.
Good job.
So he posted on Facebook with a picture of a knife, now doing Tesco's over, before he robbed Tesco's. Somebody saw this.
Really fuck him up. If you went
somebody saw this and tipped off the police before he hit the store.
I just like to think he'd be dumb enough to try and rob the meat section. They've got bigger knives than him.
Yeah,
like,
that knife. This is a knife. So someone in public tipped off the police before he hit the store. He still managed to rob it first before they got there. He was later found trying to sell the cash down a local boozer. Policeman said the pictures and posts on Facebook helped us confirm that what we already knew.
The guy's a bellend.
Yes. None of this takes away from the seriousness of the crime or the trauma experienced by the victims of the robbery. He is pleaded guilty. Strangely enough.
Never.
No. Luke, children's games. Hide and seek.
Yes, that exists.
Yeah, you've ever played it?
Yes.
Have you ever had the dream of playing to IKEA?
yes.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, you can't. It's been banned.
Oh, is this because of that guy that was doing all the different things in IKEA to annoy people?
No. Apparently, there were several events at Dutch stores, where basically they arranged a big hide and seek game, where people were allowed to come. It was arranged with IKEA, where people come in and play hide and seek. But unfortunately,
they had kids still in there for about a week.
Yeah, well, people were hiding in fridges, under blankets, under IKEA bags, which no one's going to see because you have to pay for them. Yeah, they're paid to be let back out. That's just dick move. I remember going to IKEA. Actually, I'm just going to rant about IKEA a second. I went to IKEA and they said you could have something carried to your car if you paid them. Fuck off, IKEA. Your staff are there to do that sort of job, pissing idiots. Anyway, apparently there people have been attending, tens of thousands of people have been attending games of hide and seek all over Amsterdam. Presumably in IKEA.
I was going to say, hide and seek is generally a game that's played in Amsterdam, just not in the way you might imagine there.
Organisers are now looking for a new location for the games. One knows who would go to an organised hide and seek game, and how does it even work? I mean, how do you have okay, everybody count one of you count to 10, no peeking, all 500 of you go hide, please.
No, it's organised like you have rules in the
Go down to the local pub and then walk back in about a week later.
That sounds a good idea.
You want a wardrobe, missing some bits.
Apparently, one person said it's sometimes fun to charge things. IKEA's like an extremely big living room. They played highs the whole day. It was really exhausting, but having so much fun. Luke, jobs. I know you want a job.
Yeah.
I found you a job.
Right.
You have to go to New Zealand.
When did I start wanting a job?
He ain't got to go to that place hard to spell, is he?
No. You might want a job. I'm just
Oh, by the way, just in case the Welsh want to know, King's Lynn is pronounced King's Lynn. Okay? Good.
Well, if they look at it, they go, just look at Lynn's.
And then you'll be like, look, seriously, stop that.
I've typed my sat-nav, can't pronounce Norwich. No. Turn left onto Norwich Road.
Yeah, Bickley.
Yeah.
It's Beckles.
Yeah. My friend was in London. There's a road in London called Bell End. And I said, turn left down Bell End. Brilliant. There you go.
The Fresh Prince
Anyway,
of Bel End.
Anyway, a job for you if you want it, Luke.
Okay.
New Zealand is looking for a highly motivated problem solvers to join its bomb disposal team. Okay, so the advert appeared in the country's Defence Force publication for the newly created explosive ordnance disposal operator trade. The article calls for individuals who are mature, physically fit, highly motivated to not get blown up, and have the ability to solve complex problems. Gamers, you see. Apart from the
Well, it'd be kind of fucked.
What have you got
Press
to
B
physically
button
fit?
does not appear.
Yeah, they have this. Yeah, they
Press
require
B to disarm bomb.
Yes.
Not an option.
an aptitude for mechanics, electronics, and chemistry is necessary, as is the ability to be capable of operating a small team in a high-risk, high-consequence situation.
Walter White, they're calling for you.
I was going to say. Got to be a teacher.
Apparently, the new post came in after the head of the army created the new EOD operator trade in January to defend against chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive hazards and threats to both military and civilian environments. It's a new recruitment drive. It's existing force per new recruits. So there you go. You can go disarm bombs.
Alright,
If you can figure out how to use a laptop, I'm sure you can figure out to disarm a bomb. It can't be that hard.
Well,
Just cut the red wire.
Cut all the wires. Just don't go near it. Let it blow up. It's not my problem.
You run along the dock with it above your head. Going, I got a bomb! Oh, I come from the head.
I remember from I've played Counter-Strike. I know how this works. You walk over, you get out your wire codes, hold it on there for 15 seconds, and you win.
Yeah, job done.
And the great
Just
thing
give it
is,
to somebody, hot potato.
yeah.
Pass
Really?
it on. There's a game for IKEA. Look. Pass the bomb.
Pass the bomb. Somewhere in the store. Somewhere in this store is a bomb, and you need to find it.
Before it blows up.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it.
I'll tell you, but once this podcast, I won't tell us on the podcast. Once this podcast, I'll tell you about the bomb scare we once had at work.
I think the best thing.
Sorry, I was just thinking of Abby Hamza going, I'm now doing over Tesco's and posting it on Facebook. But they're doing over IKEA.
Shit. Oh dear.
After they donated coat hangers to him as well, the bastard.
Best thing anyone would ever look for whilst playing hide and seek in IKEA is the missing bits to half of the fucking furniture thereafter. How many of the things on the IKEA showroom floor are actually put together properly? Where are the bits that were missing from my fucking cabinet?
To be fair, from working in such an environment, I can tell you that most of the time it's like, people just.
It was you just taking it out for the laugh, weren't it?
Yeah, of course we cut and so forth.
Where is that down?
I remember one chap couldn't be bothered to screw the back panel to the wardrobe, so he hammered the screws in.
Nice.
I said, "Hey, it's bump, bump, bump." So, what are you doing? I'm hammering the screws in. That's not what you're meant to do with them. This is easier. The holes are pre-drilled.
Oh, fucking hell.
He had to literally. See, he got fed on the screw and he just bump, bump, bump with a hammer. Oh, dear. All was going well until he missed and put a hole through the back of the cabinet. But that's another story.
Indeed.
Right. You want to go to another country? You want you and your wife? You want to take your wife with you?
Not really.
This for the purpose of this.
Okay,
so I
yes.
assume you do.
Honey, we're going to another country. What country?
North Korea.
Well, it's in EU.
Can I not go with him? Can I go with my other wife?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Cool.
But it's how you get there is the important bit.
Lie low.
No.
Suitcase.
Trebuchet.
That'd be rad.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
suitcase. I know I need a
Frenchman
suitcase.
decided he wanted to smuggle his Russian wife. They weren't married. They're all bubble. They're married. She could have sat next to him on the plane, but he decided to smuggle her via suitcase.
What?
He could have told the guards he was a pair. So the border guards in Terespol and the Polish border detained the man after asking about his enormous suitcase. They opened it and found the woman in her 30s. The man didn't realise it was simple to prove that the pair married. They could have gone through without any trouble, saving his wife a great deal of discomfort. I love the fact that she was the one who had to get in the suitcase.
Divorce.
Actually, as they said, had she been seen next to her husband, she would have made it through without incident. They said the border guard spokesman. They did risk a 3-year prison sentence for evading border control, but they've been released. So there you go. Now, if you need to know if you want to take your wife board, just get a suitcase.
Well, if I ever want to get her arrested and sent away, as if I'm trying to smuggle her into the country, good job. Honey, get in the suitcase. I need a holiday.
But rubbish news.
Well, yeah, that was, but we're trying to pick it up, but okay.
Right,
You're talking about some news. Oh,
shut up. News about rubbish. Sometimes you get lists like from the council say, don't put these in these bins, don't put this in those bins, and
in Norwich they actually glue them to the inside of the bin lid.
That's good. But you get
and people ignore them anyway.
Yeah, but you don't get this. Say, please don't put this thing in this bin.
Don't put fire inside the plastic bin.
Yes, well, you're close.
Dismembered bodies go in the red bin.
Well, the Siberian government has now asked people to stop disposing of hand grenades and other munitions in the bins.
Fucking hell.
Hoping to minimise
bomb disposal geezer.
These guys were playing the IKEA game, weren't they? That's where it all ended up.
But hoping to minimise accidents, as imposed, and they're trying. Basically, what happens is they've started more control over privately held weapons, which includes obviously grenades. So people got these weapons stashed away. A lot of them left over from wars from the.
Surely we've all played that game, fully wheelie been up with grenades and rolling down a hill just to see what happens.
So basically, they've had to pass a law saying they're going to put strict control on these weapons, so people have had to dispose them, so they've decided to chuck them in the bins. So they don't know how many are being collected illegally. There could be between 200,000 and 900,000 weapons in the country, so they ask people to now drop off at the local police station, presumably not armed.
Presumably with the pins.
So I will drop my drop my grenade off. Clink. There you go, guys.
Catch this fucker. Hot potato.
That's when the New Zealand people need to fly over there. But Siberia, I mean, there's like 4 people who live in the whole country, I believe.
Well, fucking hell, they're holding on to a lot of grenades.
Yeah, it's like, Bob, do you have any more grenades? No, I haven't got any.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Look at my fucking grenade.
Why have you just ordered the skip? No reason. Put the snow in it and the huskies. Oh, that must be. I'm assuming the skips are dragged by huskies everywhere.
The government have said I've got too many huskies. I need more grenades.
Yeah. Explosive grenades. What am I thinking of?
Explosive grenades. I'll be kind of sad if
explosive husky grenades.
We go to Russia and throwing spuds at people.
Yes. Do you know what I'm thinking of now? You know the very first Medal of Honor game?
Yes.
Do you know if they set the attack dogs after you?
Yes.
If you threw the grenades at them, they pick the grenade up and run back to the handler.
Bless them.
That was brilliant. I remember Medal of Honor. You could actually play the multiplayer as a dog.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Medal of Honor was a good game.
That was a good game.
The first 2.
I like Frontline. I did actually
was
like
Frontline on the PlayStation.
That was the first one on the PS2. They did.
Yeah, the ones on the PlayStation with Medal of Honor, and then the one where you're in the French underground.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I like Frontline. That was okay.
I had the first Medal of Honor. I thought it sucked personally.
Backflip shotgun.
I remember just being childish and on multiplayer I'd always play as Helmet just because the name amused me.
Well, there you go.
Oh dear.
Another quick peek into the mind of Bird.
Yeah, terrifying as it is. Yes.
Amusing.
Bird likes helmets.
Yeah, he does. He keeps his very polished. I actually saw Luke cringe then. I've never seen him cringe before. That was actually
The fact that you're thinking of Bard polishing his helmet.
Are we implying I keep a Nazi in my trousers? He's fucking good at this hide and
British
seek business,
had
isn't he?
the British had helmets as
I didn't even know
well.
he was there.
Moving on.
Moving on. Where can you find us?
Stroheim, what are you doing down there?
German
Now we know
engineering
where
the
he dried his
best.
hair from. Where can you find us? You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/randnerds.
He's implying I've got a pubic mullet. What the fuck, man?
You can email us at randnerds at... No, sorry, that's wrong.
You
see, you can email us at comments@randnerds.com. You can find us at www.randnerds.com. We have a Facebook page, Randnerds, Gmail, Google Plus page, Randnerds, and we have a Steam group, Randnerds.
Feel free to forward all complaints to Nick.
I'll just delete them. I don't bother looking at complaints
Do
generally.
we even get emails?
We get loads of spam. What more do you want?
I don't know. I don't even bother.
Most of them from you bloody YouTube. Look at the cool videos uploaded today. I don't give a shit, YouTube. Stop
I
telling
made
me.
content. I don't want to watch it. That's shit.
Yeah. And all it's boring anyway, the stuff they put up there.
If it's anything like what we make, it's shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand the quality that is on the YouTube. I
wouldn't
know.
even watch my own shit. Why would I watch that?
Yeah. So, until episode 34.
Yes.
We need to say about the
maybe
fact
a few weeks.
there
There
may
may be a delay. There may not be a delay, depending on whether or not we find another way to record. So I'm
Yes.
moving offices. So Leroy and all that.
Yeah.
So
We don't
Yeah.
know when the next one's going to be.
we're not doing podcasts in my bloody living room anymore.
No.
So
We don't know when the next one's going to be, because not long after that, I go lambing, which means I'll be sitting in a farm shed for 2 weeks, my hand at backside of a sheep.
expect us back.
Not for the whole
2045.
2 weeks. I will point out. I'll take it out occasionally.
Should we say? He's trying to meld in with the sheep.
I've got to get at some point. No.
So should we say sometime between now and 2045?
Yeah. Sounds like we'll post something on YouTube. I'm sure.
Next
One
2
day.
week cheap fisting holiday.
Yeah.
That's,
Yes.
Nick can
Look
make a
forward to it.
documentary with his. Nick can get a new iPhone and test out the video quality, just like one of them random dildo majiggers he was
Yeah, we
talking about
could
that
do, yeah.
time.
See,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Nick's gonna.
don't excite him, right? He's getting way
Nick's
too
gonna.
pleased.
Nick's gonna eye fist the sheep. So until
I'll say,
2045.
if you get a phone message from me and it says Nick would like to FaceTime with you, do you accept?
How about no?
No.
Good thing I don't own any Apple products to accept a FaceTime call.
Yeah,
Really.
it is, isn't it?
God, that means I'll get it. And I'll be like,
Oh my god!
Oh dear.
holy shit!
Right
Holy
past the elbow.
Nick, just climb back inside. That's enough.
Oh dear. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. We're looking forward to being the next podcast. So until then, see you
At least
next
I said
time.
elbow. I could have said balls deep.
Oh dear.